Have you ever stopped to wonder who's really in control of your thoughts? I mean, when life gets loud and distractions pull you in every direction, who's steering the wheel inside your mind? Today, we're exploring a powerful book that doesn't just ask that question. It teaches you how to take back the controls. How to Own Your Own Mind by Napoleon Hill isn't just about thinking positively. It's about learning how to train your mind like a muscle, to think with purpose, to choose what you focus on, and to turn your ideas into real action. In this book, Hill invites us into a fascinating dialogue with one of the most successful men in history, Andrew Carnegie. Through their imagined conversations, Hill uncovers the mental habits that turn ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. You'll learn how to develop a creative vision, how to structure your thinking for clarity and power, and how to control your attention so it doesn't get scattered by the noise of everyday life. If you've ever felt like your mind was working against you, or if you're ready to finally put it to work for you, then stay with me. This journey isn't about theory. It's about building the kind of thinking that creates change, builds success, and helps you finally become the person you were meant to be. Do sayings like, "Your mind can master any challenge," or "Just think positive," ever rub you the wrong way? Sure, they sound logical on the surface, but really, how often are your thoughts genuinely positive? And more importantly, how can you actually harness your mind to push through tough situations? If you're being real with yourself, you've probably noticed that your own mind can be the toughest opponent you face. You chase your goals, you put in the effort, but more often than not, it feels like you're running into walls. Plenty of people want to shift into a healthier, more empowering mindset, but for some reason, it keeps slipping through their fingers. That's what keeps them stuck in patterns of fear, doubt, and repeated setbacks. But here's the thing, you're not alone, and there's a way forward. This next part will walk you through what it really means to shift the way you think, from the inside out. You'll get to explore why intentional action is so crucial, how to train your thoughts to spot and act on opportunities, and how to zero in on your real purpose and start moving toward it. So let me ask you, are you ready to truly take command of your mind? Let's talk about creative vision. It's not a term that comes up much in casual conversation. A lot of folks might think it only belongs in the world of art, literature, or maybe music. But Andrew Carnegie, yes, the legendary industrialist and philanthropist, believed that creative vision is a skill everyone needs, not just artists. In his view, creative vision is the ability to see opportunities where others don't, and then do something about them. At the heart of this vision is imagination. Carnegie broke imagination down into two types, synthetic and creative. Synthetic imagination is when you take existing ideas, principles, or concepts and combine them in new ways. It's not necessarily about inventing something completely new. Because let's face it, in today's world, truly original ideas are rare. Instead, it's about taking old parts and reassembling them into something fresh and useful. A great example of this is Thomas Edison. He didn't create electricity or the concept of electric light from scratch. Both were already around. But early electric lamps had serious flaws. They didn't last long because the wires burned out quickly. Edison used synthetic imagination to solve that problem. He figured out that charcoal could handle the heat better and last much longer. That one shift, taking two already known ideas and combining them differently, changed everything. And he used that approach for years. Then there's the other kind of imagination, creative imagination. This is when entirely new ideas seem to come out of nowhere. Think about the musicians, authors, and creators you admire. Most of them will tell you they're not exactly sure where their best ideas come from. They just arrive, like a flash of inspiration. Edison experienced this too. When asked how he came up with using charcoal, He often said it just came to him, and he acted on it. That's the nature of creative imagination. It feels spontaneous and magical, but it's real and powerful. Developing creative vision means developing both types of imagination. And, if that's your goal, there are a few principles you'll want to keep in mind. First up, having a clear sense of purpose. When you know what you're aiming for, it gives your imagination direction. Interestingly, financial goals can also spark imagination. Money might not be everything, but it can definitely motivate creative thinking. Second, there's the mastermind principle. This is about gathering a group of people who are all focused on solving the same problem or brainstorming a shared idea. When minds come together like that, imagination flows in exciting ways. Third is going the extra mile. Let's say there's someone like Anna, who's deeply passionate about rescuing animals. Her love for what she does fuels her imagination. She's constantly coming up with new ways to help and connect with animals. Her dedication keeps her creativity alive. And lastly, there's applied faith. When you genuinely believe in something, whether it's a dream, a mission, or a greater force, that belief can unlock a deep well of imaginative energy. Creative vision isn't a gift reserved for a select few. It's something you can build, step by step, through purpose, collaboration, passion, and faith. And when you do, your mind stops being your enemy and starts becoming your most powerful ally. History is filled with individuals who turned their faith into real achievements. That brings us to the fifth principle: organized personal effort. It's one of the most direct ways to spark imagination and bring ideas to life. A perfect example? Thomas Edison and his invention of the incandescent light bulb. Now, let's talk about your thoughts. Have you ever taken a step back to actually observe how you think? Most people haven't. But if you're serious about reaching your goals, understanding and organizing your thinking is absolutely essential. And there are two main ways to do this: inductive and deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning happens when you draw conclusions based on incomplete or unknown facts. For example, when the sky looks cloudy and gray, you might grab an umbrella before heading out. You're making a logical decision based on patterns and probabilities. On the other hand, deductive reasoning is built on what you already know for certain. Let's say someone mentions Peter is a bachelor. That simply means he's not married. No opinions involved, just a fact. This kind of reasoning leaves no room for guesswork. It's precise. And here's the catch: opinions don't belong here. Why? Because they're often rooted in bias or a lack of solid information. That's why Napoleon Hill emphasizes that organized thinking should not rely on outside opinions. It's not always easy to tell facts from opinions, but here's what Hill wants you to remember. An opinion is only trustworthy when it's backed by real evidence. Take someone like Renee. She always has something to say in any discussion, but she's careful to base her points on verifiable facts. Without that foundation, opinions are nothing more than free advice, and not always good advice. Of course, there are moments when input from others can be helpful. When Diana faces a major life choice, she turns to people she trusts: her partner, her best friend, her parents. But she doesn't just accept their suggestions without thinking. She examines their advice, checks it against what she knows, and then decides. It's smart to be thoughtful about the information you take in. Then there's Brandon. He stays updated with global news and checks different sources regularly. But he doesn't take every article at face value. He digs deeper. He verifies the outlet, the author, and the facts. He knows that even credible news can carry a slant. So he filters what he reads and sticks to sources with a solid reputation. That's how he keeps his thinking clear and grounded. The big takeaway? Always question what you hear or read. Keep learning, keep testing, until you're confident something is rooted in truth. Organized thinking doesn't come automatically. It's something you build over time with consistent habits. Without those habits, your mind is like a camera stuck on auto mode, taking in everything without focus. It captures all kinds of noise, propaganda, gossip, irrelevant details. But when you develop discipline, your mental camera starts to zoom in. You begin to focus only on what matters, blocking out the clutter. And that starts with having a definite purpose. Let's say you want to get in shape. You're frustrated with your weight, and you say you want to be healthier. But wanting it isn't enough. If you're still eating junk food and ignoring your health, nothing's going to change. That desire needs to turn into deliberate action. You'll need willpower and effort. It might mean changing your routines, what's in your kitchen, even who you spend time with. Creating those mental habits takes repetition. And once you start repeating smart behaviors, you'll notice a shift. You stop blindly accepting things, and you start doing your own digging. That's how real, organized thinking begins. Repeating something physically has its place, but there's another layer that's just as important: mental repetition. One effective method of this is using affirmations. A well-known example comes from Emile Coué, a pharmacist and psychologist who strongly believed in the impact of repeated thoughts. His followers still refer to his famous line as a kind of formula for health and success. Day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. It may sound simple, even a little silly at first, but anyone who truly understands the influence our minds can have wouldn't dismiss it so quickly. Take Penelope, for instance. She finally found the courage to chase her dream and open a bakery. Baking had always been her passion, but turning that into a business was no small feat. She knew she needed funding, equipment, and a solid plan. So she sat down and created a checklist of everything she needed to get done. And rather than overwhelm herself, she focused on knocking out just one task at a time. That kind of focused persistence shows what Hill called definiteness of purpose, committing your energy toward a clearly defined goal. As Penelope kept working through her checklist, she also demonstrated physical repetition, tackling each step with consistency. But that wasn't all. She also practiced mental repetition every single day. Through affirmations, she kept reinforcing her belief in herself. She reminded herself that she was capable, that her dream was within reach, and that good things take time. On days when she felt worn out or discouraged, those affirmations became a lifeline. They reignited her motivation and helped her keep going. It's also worth noting how important energy is, the kind you send out into the world. That's the idea behind the law of attraction. If you tend to focus on the positives, good things often come your way. But if your energy is negative, you'll likely attract more of the same. Your mindset matters. The way you direct your focus matters. Now let's talk about another powerful concept: controlled attention. Just like you train yourself to form healthy habits, you can train your mind to focus. Napoleon Hill called this type of focus mental dynamite because it has the power to blow away doubt, distraction, and fear. But how do you actually develop it? Hill points to 5 elements that work together to build controlled attention: a clear purpose, self-discipline, concentrated focus, autosuggestion, and strong willpower. Let's break it down using Harold as an example. Harold is in a tough spot. He's behind on rent and the due date is coming fast. Now he could choose to panic and do nothing. But instead, Harold decides to channel his energy into solving the problem. That's his definiteness of purpose. He's not just hoping for a solution, he's committed to finding one. That decision alone shifts his mindset and helps him focus on what truly matters. Next, Harold practices self-discipline. Instead of letting fear and worry spiral out of control, he keeps his emotions in check. He knows that fear won't help. It'll only drain his energy and make him give up. Staying calm and focused becomes part of his strategy. Then comes controlled attention. Harold devotes most of his mental energy to figuring out how to earn that money. He avoids distractions and puts his full attention into this goal. That's what Hill means by mental dynamite. It's the focused intensity that can spark real solutions. And here's where autosuggestion steps in. As Harold starts thinking about possible ways to make money, ideas begin to surface. He brainstorms, researches, reaches out to people. Those ideas didn't just appear out of nowhere. They came from the focused intention and inner dialogue he maintained. Since Harold was handy with repairs, he figured he could start by asking his neighbors if they needed anything fixed. Or maybe he could offer math tutoring. He was always good with numbers. That's the beauty of autosuggestion. It opens your mind to see that there's never just one solution. There are always countless ways to handle a situation. And the last piece of the puzzle is willpower. No matter how tough things look, there's almost always a path forward. You just have to be determined enough to find it. It's your willpower that fuels your determination and persistence. Even if the first few neighbors turned Harold down, there was still a chance that the next one might say yes. That's what kept him going. These 5 principles Harold leaned on to earn some extra money aren't just random. They're the same ones that countless successful people have followed throughout history. Let's take Thomas Edison as an example. Edison credited much of his success to a set of principles he followed religiously. When someone once asked him what mattered most in the world of invention, he shared a list. At the top was the need to clearly define your goal, knowing exactly what you're aiming for. He also gave a detailed explanation of what he meant by focused attention and autosuggestion. According to Edison, you have to be completely absorbed in your goal. So much so that the idea of failure doesn't even cross your mind. Focused attention is about locking your eyes on the prize. You give your energy to mastering your skill, and you surround yourself with people who share your ambition. You don't waste time on distractions. You don't let setbacks or doubts pull you off course. That's what real willpower looks like. Autosuggestion, on the other hand, kicks in when you fully believe you're going to reach your goal. Edison also pointed out a major issue he saw in most people. They quit before they even begin. The real battle is often in your mindset. You talk yourself out of starting before you take the first step. Alexander Graham Bell, the man who brought us the telephone, understood this deeply. Bell didn't nail it on his first try, not even close. In fact, he said he lost count of how many times he failed. Sure, it was frustrating, but did it make him stop? Never. He kept at it until the day he managed to transmit sound through a wire. That was his breakthrough. Now, let's talk about Andrew Carnegie and his take on focused attention. Carnegie held this principle in high regard. He believed that anyone could apply it to virtually any area of life and find success. For him, focused attention meant using every part of your mind and channeling it toward one objective. When Carnegie set out to produce and sell steel, he threw his entire focus into it. That laser-sharp concentration became his formula for success. He believed that when you specialize, when you zero in on one thing, you massively improve your odds of achieving your goals. But what about industries where variety is essential, like retail? Think about a big store with departments for everything from sports gear to clothing. Carnegie argued that even in these diverse environments, focused attention still plays a key role. Each department needs a specialist. For example, the clothing section might have a manager who knows exactly which styles of shirts and blouses will sell best. The sports department might be led by someone who understands which fitness machines or athletic equipment move quickly. So even in large businesses with lots of variety, focused attention still works, because each area has someone giving it their full attention. It's the same in corporate settings. You'll find focused attention reflected in how roles are divided. Human resources doesn't handle what the finance team does, and vice versa. Each person brings their focus to one area, and that's how the whole machine runs efficiently. Just like in a company where each department has a specific role, say accounting doesn't jump into sales, it's the same with us. If you're not yet sure what area you want to specialize in, that's totally okay. Andrew Carnegie believed we should think carefully about where we dedicate our time and energy. And if you already have some sense of your main goal in life, that clarity can guide your decisions and point you in the right direction. Take Claire, for instance. She's a college student trying to figure out which direction to go. She's majoring in communications, but deep down, she doesn't see herself working in that field long term. While she's finishing up school, she's also taking the time to explore different career paths. By the time she graduates, she realizes her true calling isn't tied to her degree. Instead, she decides to go into medicine. Helping people in vulnerable situations becomes her motivation. She sees that becoming a doctor would allow her to make the biggest impact. Interestingly, her degree wasn't wasted. In fact, her communications background gives her a unique edge when it comes to talking with patients and building trust. Andrew didn't view uncertainty about specialization as a drawback. In his view, it's a chance to strengthen your soft skills, things like clear communication, teamwork, and personal discipline. Even switching fields after years of dedication isn't a mistake. Sure, you might have invested years staying focused in one area, but people grow and passions change. It might feel like you're throwing away all that time, but what's a bigger waste is ignoring what truly inspires you. That's the real loss. To wrap up, let's look back on what we've covered. First, we talked about creative vision. That's your ability to spot opportunities and take bold action. But you can't activate that vision without imagination. Hill explains two types: synthetic and creative. Synthetic imagination takes old ideas and rearranges them into something new. Creative imagination, on the other hand, brings forth something entirely original. You can fuel both types of imagination using 5 key principles. Having a clear purpose, working with a team, what Hill calls the mastermind principle, going the extra mile, acting on your faith, and staying personally organized in your efforts. Next, we explored the concept of organized thinking. A structured mind doesn't just react to opinions, it examines them closely. That kind of mental clarity only comes from habits you intentionally build and repeat, both mentally and physically. Then, we looked at the importance of controlled attention. Just like organized thought, this kind of focus is vital. There are 5 ingredients that make it work: a definite purpose, personal discipline, steady attention, self-suggestion, and willpower. Finally, we learned how focus and specialization can boost your chances of success, especially in your career. Putting your time and energy into mastering one area makes it much easier to grow. The deeper your knowledge, the more unstoppable you become. Don't let fear or uncertainty hold you back. Start building a plan for what you truly want. What's the one reason you're here, living this life? Once you figure that out, everything, your heart, your mind, your energy, will align to help you chase it. Believe in yourself. You absolutely have what it takes. And that brings us to the end of our walkthrough of How to Own Your Own Mind by Napoleon Hill. I hope the takeaways we unpacked today really hit home for you. These aren't just nice ideas. They're real tools you can start using right now to change the way you think, act, and grow. If this resonated with you, consider picking up the full book. There's so much more wisdom packed into it, waiting to help you shape your thoughts and your future. At the end of the day, a book like this isn't just meant to be heard, it's meant to be lived. If even one idea today made you pause and rethink how you approach your goals, your habits, or your mindset, then you're already on the path to transformation. True change begins not in theory, but in the quiet choices we make every day. So here's a challenge for you. Take just one concept from this episode. Maybe it's about mastering your thoughts, clarifying your purpose, or building better habits, and put it into action for the next 7 days. No overthinking, no waiting, just one step forward, starting today. And if this message spoke to you, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment to share your takeaway, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And hey, if someone came to mind while you were listening, send this their way. It might be exactly what they need right now. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm truly grateful you're here. Until next time, take care of your mind, your heart, and your purpose. I'll see you soon.